Joerg, welcome. What is the flavour of this year's COP, would you say, compared to last year's?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks so much, Georgie. I think the flavor is fantastic. It's energizing, a lot of vibrancy here. And it's very important to have this positive spirit, right, to create for change in the climate action agenda. And compared to the COP27, if you allude to that, the big change is that this year we do have a global stocktake. And the global stocktake is halfway between 2015 and 2030. And by 2030, the nations need to actually achieve a lot on the decarbonization agenda. So, and you have heard maybe in a few months before the COP happened that we are off track. And hence there are a lot of initiatives going on that hopefully, bring us more back on track as we are now.
Well, let's talk about adaptation and resilience. Is it just about developing countries?
No, it is really about everybody because you're not immune to this, right? It's climate change. Climate change is unfortunately real and it's there for every nation. If you look at it, for instance, in Europe the climate has, the average temperature has increased by 1.7 degrees Celsius already compared to pre-industrial levels. And we have witnessed a lot of floods, for example, or in the US, where you might have heard also the news that a lot of homeowners are not able anymore to insure their homes anymore because the premiums have gotten so high. So it is not something that is only relevant for the global south. It is also very true for the global north. And think about also the wealth, which is relatively higher in the global north. So the damage will be also relatively higher for those nations.
With that in mind, does every country need to have an adaptation and resilience plan, or every region, I suppose, if you talk about Europe as one? And what would that look like?
Yeah, so it's actually, there are two things that the countries should do, right? One is the national determined contributions, and the other one is to have a very solid adaptation and resilience plan, right? And there are a few components, 4 components. The first is really for every country to understand what is the risk in the country. Socio-economic risk, lives, livelihood, and also economy. How big is the risk for your own country? The second one is to take a real data-driven approach to this. Why? Because you need to understand where are the most vulnerable geographies, for instance, in your country. And you have a lot of investments to make. So you need to be smart about it. So a data-driven approach. The third one is about getting the capital ready. And that is typically blended finance between the public and also the private. And then last but not least, it's really about getting a good implementation plan and follow through.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.